Excellent.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. We are here with Danielle and her fabulousness. I am loving your background, by the way. That is
Oh,
just
thank you.
lovely. Thank you for bringing an aesthetic to my very plain wall for the day. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about why you are as amazing as you are and why we love you so much?
Well, that would be a bit arrogant, but I'll try. My name is Danielle Benzon. I am a speaking and personal presence coach, but I don't just work with speakers. I do very much on stage and on camera, but I also help people to find themselves through their voice. Because for me, I trained as a classical actor for 20 years. And through that training, I went from kind of sounding like this and really hating the way that I sounded to finding my real voice and loving it so much and feeling so at home in my body and my sound. And that is what I love to help other people with, because everyone should love the way that they sound and the way that they feel when they speak. So that's about me.
Oh, that is fabulous. Like not I resonate so much with this topic because when I hear my playback, I'm like, that can't be. I'm like, that's an
Mm.
annoying sound. The voice in my head is fabulous. The voice in my head is wonderful. And then you hear it play
Mm-hmm.
back and it's like, is that even me? Like it's an identity thing, even.
Yeah, it
So
is.
how talk to me about that. Tell me more about like the voice, the empowerment, the love. Like it is self-love to love your own voice. It is like
100%.
it should be a love affair, in my opinion. It should be a
I
love affair.
agree. I agree. And the thing is that a lot of people don't like the sound of their voices, but it's not their voice that they don't like the sound of. It's what their voice is telling them. So that example I did of my voice earlier, yeah, I don't like the sound of that either. And I didn't change my voice to be less like me. I changed my voice to be more like me and more like who I am on the inside. So the thing is, I studied the work of a lady named Kristen Linklater. She wrote a book called Freeing the Natural Voice. I recommend it to everyone that I ever talk to. Check it out. It's amazing. And she talks in the prologue about how, when we're born, we have these beautiful, expressive, powerful voices. You can hear the 2-year-old three doors down expressing themselves very, very loudly and very powerfully. But the thing is, as we grow, and it's very early, like age 2, age 3, as we're learning to communicate, we also tend to pick up bad habits. We tend to disconnect from our voice, either from fear of punishment, like we express ourselves in a way that some authority figure thinks is wrong and we get punished for it, or for being humiliated, like we express ourselves and someone thinks it's silly and they make fun of us. And so we learn to suppress that and to change it. And it's all these defense mechanisms that come through in the voice. And that's what we hear that we don't like. So a lot of this work, it's not so much about, learning new things. It's about figuring out what habits you've created along the way, just the same way you pick up bad posture in certain situations. You pick up
As I'm
bad
like,
habits in your
yep.
voice. Yeah, yeah.
That's
How am I
right.
sitting?
We're not question mark today. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. Everyone who's watching and listening, please check your posture, drink some water.
Check it
Self-care is
out.
important. But see,
Yeah.
you're reminding us of all these things. Please continue as I'm like interrupting you to check my own posture.
Got it. Well, posture is part of it. I mean, your instrument can't work without it being aligned, because a huge part of what we do is we cut our voice off, we cut our breath off from our body, and then the voice doesn't work. Because one of my favorite teachers ever, Stuart Pierce, he would start every class saying, "Your voice is halfway between your head and your heart for a reason. Everything that you're feeling, what's going on physically, comes out through your voice. Everything that you're thinking about yourself, all that self-judgment, all that stuff, comes out in your voice." And so when we work on the voice, we're forced to work on the entire human being and the entire body system. And your breath system really goes all the way down kind of to your pelvic floor. So it is a full body experience, but we tend to separate ourselves from our breath. And that's the kind of magic key to starting to reconnect with the voices, to reconnect with the breath, because most of us, we're either too cool for school. So we breathe out and then we talk, and it's like these surfer dudes or these sometimes like yoga instructors and stuff. Not, I mean, only some of them, not all of them, obviously. I'm not discriminating, but people who are like so relaxed, they're demonstrating how relaxed they are. That's not relaxed, that's collapsed. and we're speaking on almost no breath at all.
Yeah.
And
And
then
like as
there's
you're
other
saying it,
people.
I wanted to like curl in. It's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And I'm like, why are you okay? And I never realized that like that it makes even you listening to it, it makes you go,
Yeah.
why? Just why? Why?
Your
So
communication is so much more than just the words you use. Like there's so
yes.
much going
Oh, yes. Like, oh,
on.
I am loving this conversation. Sorry, everybody. I'm freaking out over here. But no, like it's such a somatic, it's such a holistic
Yeah,
thing to
very.
be
Yeah,
with. And one of the things that I notice is that people will pick up things also like based on who they're around, like the mannerisms and stuff.
absolutely.
So they're not even them. It's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, you were around people who spoke very with like a harsh note.
Yeah,
They sounded like,
totally.
you're so nice. Why do you sound like a bitch? And it's like, because I was raised in a house where everyone talks like this. And so like
Exactly.
finding your own voice has got to be the most,
Oh yeah.
and it's a journey. It's a journey, right?
It
Like,
is a journey. It is. There are certain exercises you can do to help you for sure. But it feels like coming home. Like it really does. And the cool thing is, because obviously I trained as an actor, the cool thing is that when you find your voice and you found that home, you can still change your voice into all sorts of character voices, but because you're coming from home, it still feels like you. As opposed to if I separate myself from my voice, then I feel disconnected from myself. But if I used a younger voice and a brighter voice that was still coming through the center of me, I can still feel like myself, but I can still be a different character. And so we do want to, we're tribal creatures. We want to change depending on, where we are and who we're with. But if we know that home center, then we can do it through that. And then I talk about like the pinball of your voice. It always starts in the same place, but then it comes out in different areas depending on where you are. So that pinball can come out of different places, but you're still connected to you, and you don't feel like you're betraying yourself when you're adapting.
that is just so fabulous. I love that. And like as you're talking, I fun little fact about me, I do Renaissance festivals. And so you have to be
Ooh,
in
oh, we
character
have to connect.
the whole time. And people will ask, like, because I'm all about authenticity, right? How do you stay
Mm,
authentic when you play a character for 18 hours a day? And I was like, I know who I am. And whether I talk to you like a
yeah.
leprechaun or not, I am still me. Whether so
Yeah.
it's I feel like it's also safety. Like if you own your voice, you are safe no matter where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the thing that I used to hate when I would introduce myself. Now I introduce myself as a voice coach. It's a bit different. But when I used to introduce myself as an actor for those 20 years when
Mhm.
that's all I did, everyone's like, oh, you must be such a good liar. And it's just so frustrating because no one understands that really the job is to tell the truth. It's
Mhm.
to tell the truth in any circumstances. And so I think actors are more good actors are more about finding the truth and telling the truth. We're much more truth oriented than a lot of other people. But people tend to think, oh, you're an actor, you're a liar. It's like, no, it's about finding, you gotta dig deep sometimes to find the truth, to find the authenticity in something. But that's the job, is
Mhm.
to be real and authentic in these crazy circumstances. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Do you have you talked about tips. Like
Yeah.
what is one exercise? Like but I know posture as I'm sitting
Yeah.
here like now acutely aware that I can't curl in.
Well,
Can
actually,
I ask for that? Is that horrible? Can I have an
yeah,
can we have an
no, I
exercise?
love exercises. I love them. Actually, to continue on the breathing thing, what you could do, what's a really fun exercise, especially in breakout groups, like if you have friends to play with this, but even just on your own. So practice that first one of breathing out and speaking first. Most people won't resonate with that because it's less common, but some people will be like, oh yeah, that's me. Everyone else is going to fall into the other category because almost no one is, gets to adulthood without a couple of defense mechanisms. So almost everyone else disconnects from their breath in this way, which is to hold it back a little bit, just to be in control, So we breathe in. And then this is especially me because I'm the third child and, it's quite a bit younger than my siblings. So I had to make sure that I said everything that I wanted to say before I finished, because if I pause even just for a second, someone else was going to speak. So I would speak. And then when I'm finished speaking, then I'd breathe out. And it can happen quite subtly. Like people can hold just a little bit back, but you can hear it. You can hear that they're in control. Both of those are not going to serve you because you're separating the voice from the breath. Ideally, so you're going to practice those two first. Practice breathing out and speaking, and then practice holding back and speaking. And then try this. This is like the hardest thing to do, but it's the most simple thing. And I'll have a 3-day workshop with people, and I'll be, what is the most important thing you learned? And they'll say, I learned to breathe and speak at the same time. I feel like, well, I mean, yes, but also don't tell people that. But anyway, so you breathe in and you speak and you breathe out at the same time. And it's quite a difficult thing to do because it means full transparency. Physically, you can't hold anything back, which means you're not editing. You're not lying. You're not being diplomatic. On the in-breath, you can make decisions about what you want to say. But as soon as that breath is coming out, you're just releasing what you got. And that's how we build trust with people and ourselves. That's how we embody honesty. But it's not so easy to do. And you want to use up all the breath. If you've got any left over, you're not doing it right. You want to try it?
Oh, I love this. And as you're saying it, I'm like, this feels personal.
Oh.
I have spoke on stages around the country, and the critique I always get is, do you breathe on stage?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And they're like, I'm like, I got gills. It's fine. Like, I don't need to, because everyone asks, like, you speak as if you don't actually inhale or exhale.
Yeah. It's
really
you're doing shallow breaths. You're very focused on the product of speech, not on the inhalation.
So I'm like,
2024 is all about the inhalation for me. This is my year of the in-breath. It's about nurturing and settling into myself. This is the year of the in-breath. I invite you to join me.
All right,
letting your breath come all the way down into the belly. And then speak and breathe out at the same time.
Oh, this is strangely difficult as I find myself pausing.
All sorts of emotional blocks coming up. Like, oh no, I don't
like literally one of my thoughts was, what if I sound stupid? Like like that in my head. I'm like, that's what you sound like. So my gosh, like things that you don't even know.
This is the sunk cost fallacy, right? So anything that you've been doing for a long time, your brain's like, well, obviously I've been doing it for a reason. And so that control, your body doesn't want to let go of that control because your body is convinced that level of control that you have over your breath is what's stopping you from sounding stupid. No, that's not true. But if you didn't have a reason to do it, you wouldn't be doing it, right? So there's got to be a reason. It can't just be a habit. We wouldn't do that to ourselves. So this is what you've got to negotiate with your body and be like, it's okay. And just, do it at home first when you're safe, listening to music, that kind of stuff, and practice it with friends. The other kind of component of that is that we do need to breathe deep. So if we're doing surface breaths, we're not connecting to the body. And your speech, this is another Kristen Linklater thing, it comes from the pang in your guts, that the need to speak, when we learn to speak as infants, it comes from this deep need in your guts. And that is where your voice comes from. So if we can breathe into that part of ourselves, then our voice can come from the pang. If I only breathe into my shoulders, then I can't really connect to my body at all. But if I let myself connect deeply, so give it a try again. Breathe deep into the belly and speak on the out breath.
I always tell people, even in a full corset, like, you still breathe deep. They're like, how do you breathe? I'm like, you will always be able to breathe. Anyone who breathes is out of anxiety. I'm always like, I call it the Santa belly. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Always wear pants that you can expand the bowl full of jelly.
Totally.
It's
absolutely. Because the corset ends kind of, the cinching bit ends just underneath your rib case, and then you've still got the whole diaphragm and your belly and your pelvic floor. You still got all of that.
Yeah. So people are like, how can you breathe? I'm like, easy. Like, it's not like the
properly.
Movie. Swear to God, you're not meant to faint. Like, if you fainted, someone messed you up. Like, that is a them thing, and never let them touch you again type thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, no,
Do you want to give
it's
it a
always
try?
breathing into the tummy. And I always tell women specifically, sorry, men and people privileged enough to not have to wear tight clothes for fashion, like wear looser clothes. I am currently wearing Toy
Mhm.
Story pajama pants. And
Love it.
it's because I always wear clothes that I can breathe in, that my stomach can
Yeah,
expand in. People are like, why? I'm like,
absolutely.
because I deserve to breathe. And they think it's the
Yeah.
weirdest concept. But I feel like that goes along with you. Like, I deserve to speak
Yeah,
is
absolutely. And it's just so for you now, it's just about connecting those two because you're breathing very well, but you're not always speaking from that place.
no.
So it's about bringing them together. So you're often
It's
speaking
like,
still from up here. It's just like give, give, give. I'm so generous. I want to give to everybody. But if we let ourselves breathe in first and then out, then there's more of a connection because we get to connect to ourselves and then we get to connect to our audience instead of just giving ourselves to our audience, which can get a bit unbalanced and you don't want to burn out.
and we're all about balance. Like, everything should be
Yeah.
balanced, everything should be fabulous. And like, even as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm
Nice.
trying to do it more. And the more, I think that's a really big thing for the people who are listening and watching. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Like,
100%. It's practice. The tone of your voice also changed. It sounds nicer.
I was gonna say, does it sound better?
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
that, and it feel like that first time I was like, oh my God, what if I sound stupid? But now it's like it feels more
Mhm.
relaxed
Yes.
to breathe out as you're actually speaking. Because when you say it, it's like, what?
Yeah.
No, no,
I
like,
know. It's like, come on.
I am breathing. That's what lungs are for. And then it's like,
It's an involuntary process. How are you teaching me this? I
and then
do
you
it
do it.
while
And
I
I'm like sitting
sleep.
here mindfully doing it now. I'm like, okay, this will become second nature in a few weeks if I
It
do it
will.
every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like, I feel like my body is sighing. Like, just
Yes.
it's okay.
Speak
It's
speaking should feel like a release.
mhm.
It should feel like self-celebration. It should like it for me, it feels almost like a physical affirmation. Like instead of saying like I love myself or whatever, I feel my voice and it's the same feeling. It
Mhm.
should feel luxurious. It should feel pleasurable. It should feel like eating chocolate. That's what speaking should feel like.
Yes, I love that. And make your voice anything it needs to be for you. So I
Yeah.
had my tonsils removed only like a few years ago, and my voice
Oh.
dropped half an octave because of all the scar
Oh.
tissue back there now. And
Yeah.
I sound so much better to me. Like, obviously don't go and have
Yeah.
surgery unless you need it. And it, like, once I heard my voice sounding deeper, I was like, that's me. That's because
Yeah.
that sounded like Tweety Bird.
Well, and this is another thing. So, especially with women, we tend to infantilize our voices and take that with us. So, I work with a lot of female CEOs who talk like this, and they're like, "Why does no one take me seriously in the boardroom?" Like, well,
Because you sound like a waitress. That was
you
I
sound like a child.
I got voice lessons. I got linguistic lessons from a New
Ooh,
York City dominatrix. We're going to talk about it sometime. And she
we
said,
need to
never
connect.
be a waitress. You are informed. You have the knowledge that people need at the table. You are completely irrelevant and expendable. Does anybody have a pen?
Oh.
Versus, I need a
Mm-hmm.
pen. Are very, and that was the example she gave. And let me tell you what,
Mm-hmm.
in this class, she was like, okay, everyone, this was years ago. Everybody look at Lily. And I was like, oh, hi. Don't do anything Lily does. Okay. Oh, I was a
So
waitress in my own
cute.
life. I I talked higher and
Oh.
really quick to get all the information in because your time is so important. And it
Mm-hmm.
it changes when you think
Mm.
about linguistics and voice as not only like an instrument, but a
Uh-huh.
weapon of advocacy. Like, you are armed
Yeah,
to take care of yourself.
100%.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's your responsibility. It's your voice,
yes.
metaphorically and physically, both.
And you don't know until someone tells you. I did not know
Mhm.
until someone called me out in a class. I was like, Now that you mention it.
And then it can be a choice, you know? It can be a choice. Like you can be youthful and playful when you feel like it, but when you want to have authority, you can't.
Mhm.
And that's where it should be. It should be agile. It should be flexible, you
Yes.
know?
And I feel it should be non-binary, if that makes sense. Like,
100%.
oh, it should be girly and flirty. And it's like, oh, but
No
if you want to be taken
bullshit.
seriously, you have to sound masculine. It's like having a
No.
deeper voice doesn't mean masculine. It means a deeper tone to your own instrument, you know?
Well, and it's interesting because people talk about pitch a lot, but pitch and tension are related. So if I'm feeling threatened, my voice is going to go up because I'm tense and I'm ready to run. Whereas when I feel confident and relaxed, my voice is going to go down because my throat is relaxed and everything's kind of in alignment. So we call it masculine and feminine because we've genderized everything because, but really, if you think of it as tension versus intimacy and relaxation, that's really where it's at. It's not that a lower voice is more powerful because it's more masculine. A lower voice is more powerful because you are more relaxed and you are showing your confidence. There's the my One of my partners read a book about the way that animals indicate to each other if they're scared or not. And like it's called the handicap principle. And this happens a lot with birds and things, is that they change their sound to go, oh, it's time to fly, or I'm not scared of you. And they have different sounds for that kind of thing. And humans do too.
I love that. So we are almost out of time. I know
Yeah.
that people will want to talk to you and use their instrument and everything like that. Is there, I know for some people they have a freebie available, for some people it's contact information. By all means, pimp yourself out now. This is the time where people want to get to
Oh,
know
thank
you.
you.
Let's hear it.
Well, I do have a freebie. It's called my number one favorite secret exercise to unlock the power of your voice. And that's not just the authoritative power, that's connection, that's figuring out who you are and all that stuff. So I have my absolutely favorite exercise. I will give you the link and you can share it. That is my freebie for everyone. And you can also just, email me or check out my website. I'll Do you want me to say it or should I just give you the link?
Okay,
It always
say
feels
it.
weird
Say it.
saying a website address always feels so 9090 to me. I'm like www. Uh, my website is theinspiredspeaker.com because I run the Inspired Speaker Academy, because to inspire means to breathe in. And my email address is Danielle at theinspiredspeaker.com. So
I
I'll give you the
love it.
link for the exercise.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this. I cannot wait to talk to you more about linguistics and Renaissance festivals. We will be connecting.
And
Absolutely.
dominatrixes, we're going to have the most amazing conversation.
Oh, it's going to be fabulous. So everyone, please like, share, follow, comment, do all the things that you know are wonderful and will help more people see this fabulous person talking about empowering through voice. I cannot wait to see it. Thank you so much, my darling.